Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We're all about getting into the nitty-gritty, so
Yeah, getting down to the gritty.
right, we're not about surface level here. And this one's gonna be really good.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is something that's been requested actually a lot,
Mm-hmm.
which is how owning a business impacts your personal relationships.
Right.
We've got a source here that digs into all of it.
Mm.
And there's some surprising stuff here, honestly.
Is there?
Like some real potential upside if you play your cards right,
Yeah.
but also some built-in challenges that are, important to be aware of.
Uh-oh. Forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're all about. Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, the good stuff,
Yeah.
right? The source talks about this idea of shared pride,
Oh, I like that.
which is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about you, the entrepreneur, feeling proud of what you've built.
Right.
It's about your loved ones getting to share in that pride too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And that can be a really powerful thing for relationships.
Makes sense. It's like, I don't know, that feeling when your favorite team wins a championship. You didn't play, but you get to celebrate.
Totally. You're part of that win, even if you were just watching from the sidelines.
Exactly. And I bet that same energy can totally exist when a partner launches a successful product.
Oh, yeah,
Or like hits a big business milestone or something.
for sure. And speaking of perks, there's also the flexibility that can come with owning a business.
Oh,
Once things are established, you have more control over your schedule.
Yes, the dream.
Right. And that could mean more quality time with your family and friends.
If you manage it right, yeah.
Totally. It's not a guarantee, but it's definitely possible. The tricky part, though, is getting to that point.
Yes, the journey. It can be quite a journey, can't it?
That's where things get a little, shall we say, more complicated. The source is pretty honest about that, too.
Okay.
It's not all sunshine and roses. Like
Yeah.
the early stages, owning a business, it can be all-consuming. It's a ton of work.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that firsthand.
And that kind of pressure can really put a strain on relationships.
Yeah, it makes sense. Think about it. You're stressed, you're working all the time, maybe not sleeping enough.
Right.
You probably don't have a ton of mental energy left for anything else. It's tough.
And it's not always intentional neglect either, right?
Yeah.
It's just you're so focused on the business.
Right. You're in the zone.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the zone, you're in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You might not even realize that you're not fully present at home.
Ooh, that's a hard truth.
It is. And then there's financial strain, which is a whole other beast.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's a big one.
Like trying to keep your personal finances afloat, or
For
also...
payroll and everything.
Exactly. That's a ton of pressure on anyone.
For sure. And, it's interesting because a lot of entrepreneurs actually find it really helpful to create separate budgets for their personal life and their business. Like literally separate accounts even. Yeah. It helps create that mental separation too. Less mixing and mingling, which can reduce stress, honestly.
That's actually really smart. I can see how that would help with the feeling of overwhelm.
Totally.
So it's not just about managing the money itself.
Right.
It's also about managing the mental and emotional impact.
Right. 100%.
Okay, so we've got the stress, we've got the money stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's this whole other layer of emotional distance that can happen. It's like you're physically there, but not really present.
Oh, I've heard that called being emotionally unavailable sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be really hard on the other person in the relationship.
Right. It's like a disconnect.
Yeah.
So what do you do about all of this?
Well, the source we're looking at actually points to therapy as a really valuable tool.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize here,
Yeah.
therapy is not a last resort. It's not something to be ashamed of.
Right.
It's like, imagine you're training for a marathon, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't just show up on race day without any training.
Yeah, that would be a disaster.
Exactly. It's the same with relationships. Therapy is like training for your emotional and mental fitness. It helps you build those skills so you can show up as your best self.
I love that analogy.
It's true. And for entrepreneurs specifically, it can be such a game changer.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does therapy actually help?
Well, for one thing, it helps you communicate better. And I don't just mean talking more.
Right.
It's about learning how to express your needs and concerns clearly without blaming or attacking.
So it's like learning to speak the same language.
Yeah, because let's be real, sometimes couples can be speaking totally different languages without even realizing it.
That makes so much sense. And good communication is
Yeah.
essential for any relationship, right?
Especially when you add in all the pressures of running a business.
Okay, communication, got it. What else?
So then there's stress management, which is huge EE. Because when you're constantly stressed,
Right.
your body is in that fight or flight mode all the time. And that can really mess with how you think, how you make decisions,
Yeah.
and of course, how you interact with other people.
So you're saying learning to manage stress is not just about you feeling better.
Right. It's about showing up better for the people you care about.
Makes sense. And I've heard a lot about boundaries for entrepreneurs too. Is that something that comes up in therapy?
Oh, absolutely. Boundaries are like the secret weapon for protecting your personal life. It's about creating that separation between work and everything else.
So it's like drawing a line in the sand.
Yeah. Like your business has its own space and your personal life has its own space. And those spaces shouldn't bleed into each other all the time.
Otherwise, it's just chaos, right?
Exactly.
Mm.
And therapy can help you figure out where those lines should be and how to actually enforce them.
That's so helpful. Because I think a lot of people struggle with that, right? Especially if you're passionate about your work.
It can be hard to switch off.
Okay, and then there's that whole thing about getting an outside perspective.
Oh, yeah. Having someone who's not in the thick of it with you can be so eye-opening.
Because sometimes you're so close to the situation that you can't see the forest for the trees, right?
100%. And a therapist can help with that. They can spot patterns you might be missing, help you identify those triggers that make you withdraw or get frustrated.
It's like having someone shine a light on your blind spots.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
once you can see them, you can actually do something about them.
So it's not just about venting or complaining.
Right.
It's about gaining self-awareness and developing actual strategies for dealing with those challenges.
That's the goal.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, we covered a lot here.
We did.
Let's sort of big recap. We talked about the potential upside, shared pride, flexibility, and then the trickier stuff.
Mhm.
Stress, financial strain, emotional distance. It sounds like owning a business can be a real roller coaster for relationships.
It can be, for sure. But knowledge is power. Understanding those potential pitfalls is the first step to navigating them successfully.
Totally. And it sounds like having the right tools and support in place is key. Communication, stress management,
Mhm.
boundaries, and of course therapy, which can be incredibly helpful for both individuals and couples.
Couldn't agree more.
So, you listening out there, you're going into this with eyes wide open, seeing both the potential and the challenges. But here's something else to think about. We've been talking about how owning a business impacts the relationships you already have.
Okay.
But what about the relationships you might seek out in the future?
Oh, interesting.
Could building a business actually change the kind of partner you're looking for? Or the qualities you value most? That's something to ponder, isn't it?
Food for thought.
Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.